Hi, I'm Michelle Broderick with Reliance Residential Realty, and today I'm super excited to share with you some information from an inspector, Pam Kight. We're gonna talk with her about home inspections and what you can expect when you are getting your home inspected. So, Pam, tell us the name of your company.
My company name is Inspection Connection, and I have 3 licensed professional inspectors.
Great. What is your service area?
Comal County, Hayes County, we'll go South Austin, we'll go Fredericksburg, all of San Antonio, Kendall County.
Kind of the south central area is
Absolutely.
a huge area.
It is.
So what does a residential home inspection cover?
It covers, I think the easiest way to put it, we're visual inspectors. We cover from the rooftop to the foundation.
So you look at everything inside the house, but it's just a visual inspection.
Yes. Interior, exterior.
Great. Why is it important for a home buyer to get a home inspection?
Well, it's the biggest purchase of their lives. I mean, the question is, why wouldn't you have a home inspection? I mean, it's like, we can come in and for a small cost, you will find out if the AC is working okay, if your foundation is okay. Big purchases that might make a big difference if you buy that home or not.
And from a realtor's perspective, we take that information, after we get the home inspection, we take that information and then we're able to use that in the negotiating process.
Absolutely.
And that's huge.
Yes, if the AC is not functioning properly, and you can go back to the sellers and say, hey, we need to negotiate this.
A lot of what I see are roof problems.
Absolutely.
I mean, whoever goes on their roof, you know if the AC is working or not, right?
Yes.
But you don't necessarily, who goes on their roof?
Yep.
And there's rarely a report that I get back that doesn't have
Some kind of roof issues.
something going on. So that's always great to have that information. So you've done an inspection. What should the home buyer expect once the inspection is complete?
Well, when we do our inspections, we get our inspection reports out that day, so you're not waiting on them. There's digital photos, there's explanations, there's everything you need in that report to make a good decision on if that's the house you want to purchase.
And is that information shared with just the buyer, or is it given to the realtor? Who gets that information?
The buyer owns the inspection report, and we give them a choice if they want us to share with the buyer's agent, but 99.9% of the time, it goes to the buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm. And do the sellers ever get that report?
It's the agent's choice to do that or not.
Up to the buyer.
Yeah.
Up to the buyer to decide
Yes.
what they want to do with that
So,
report. Does the home buyer have to be there for the inspection?
When I'm scheduling inspection with a buyer, I talk to them about what day is good for them, because we encourage it. A lot of people work, they can't make it. We just say, call the inspector that evening, he'll go page by page by page. But if not, if they can be there, we have them come towards the last 30 minutes so they can go over and recap everything the inspector has found at that particular property.
So if they can't be there for the whole thing, which is usually takes about how long? Obviously, it depends on the size of the house.
Yes, no less than 2 hours.
Okay.
And then as the house gets bigger, the more hours it takes.
So if they can be there that whole time, great. If not,
we
at
really
least
don't
the
need-
last 30 minutes.
Yeah, we really
Okay.
encourage the last 30 minutes instead of the whole inspection.
Because it can be overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming, and we don't want the inspector, distracted during that time.
Preoccupied,
Right,
absolutely. They need to focus on the job that they're doing.
absolutely.
So let's say the buyer shows up for the last 30 minutes, the inspector kind of goes over everything. That evening, the buyer gets the report.
Right,
What does the buyer do then?
call the inspector.
So
I mean,
they're
used
totally
to,
available.
yeah, we're used to our evening hours always being ready to talk to the buyers about any questions they have, because you're right, they can't remember everything that's on that inspection report, and it's important that they understand.
Great. What should a home seller do to prepare for an inspection?
That's a great question. Make sure all the utilities are on. Make sure the water is on to the house, not at the street. The inspector's not gonna turn it on at the street. Make all areas accessible. If you park your car in the garage and the attic's there and the inspector can't get into the attic, that's an issue. Make sure lock boxes are not locked. Make everything that we need accessible. If you're packing up, don't leave your boxes outside, because we need to get you GFCI switches that are in the garage. That happens all the time.
And y'all test every single one of those.
Every accessible outlet. If it's a vacant house, we check them all. If it's behind a bed, we're not going to move the bed.
What happens if something isn't accessible?
We note it in the inspection reports so the buyer knows exactly where we've been.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like windows, we'll open every single window if it's accessible.
Great. When buyers purchase a home and they go through financing, they can do FHA, they can do VA, they can do conventional loans. Do inspections for those loans look different?
No, I mean, realistically, we inspect the house itself the same way for
Okay.
every loan. If you've got a VA loan, it's real important that the requirements are you have to have a WDI, which is a wood destroying insect inspection. You have to have a septic if there's septic on the property. There's no ifs, ands, or but. You can't get past that. We are VA certified for septic systems, so it's always important to make sure that if you do have a septic, you are going VA, that your inspector does have that national certification.
When we get the inspection back, there are some things that the VA will say it has to be repaired in order for the home to be funded.
I think as a seller that's taking buyers that are VA, if you've got any kind of tree branches on the top of your roof, you need to immediately cut them because they'll flag that. And that's kind of a lender question, but we kind of know. Any of the fascia boards that are rotted out, VA is going to flag that. So those are two minor things that just off the top of my head that you're looking at the house, those things have to be taken care of VA. We're going to write them up if they're there.
Well, and they are minor things, so.
But VA will flag them.
VA will flag them, and they're easy enough to fix in advance.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things that the
Those
seller
are
can
two
look
little-
for, especially if they're willing to accept a VA buyer. And what should a buyer look for in a home inspector? So when they're searching, when they're Googling, what kind of information do they want to look
Well,
for?
I think the first one off the top is to look for an inspector that's experienced. If you get an inspector that's 1-2 years old, they're not gonna have the same kind of experience that we do with inspectors that are 12 years in the business, 9 years in the business, 5 years in the business, and I'm blessed that I have that kind of experience in my group.
Other than the home inspection that we've talked about, the visual home inspection, what other kinds of inspections should a buyer consider, could a buyer consider, do y'all offer?
Well, we offer all the above. First of all, WDI, which I call termite, because most people understand that better than saying wood destroying insect inspection. I think that needs to be done on most houses. I mean, if it's a new construction, probably not necessary. Septic inspection, pool inspections, well inspection if you have a well on the property, any outbuildings, those are, to me, important.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Pam. I
Michelle.
appreciate you coming out. Thanks so much.